It's a pleasure to have you join us on another episode of the program. I'm Okbayemi Owosheni. We start off with business news. In a bid to promote ease of import and export trade in the country, President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated a committee for a national single window. Tinubu revealed this during the inauguration of the National Steering Committee of the project at the Presidential Villa Abuja. According to him, the introduction of the National Single Window project is sent to enhance integration at both national and regional level. This next report has more details.
The National Single Window Project is a cross-government initiative that aims to simplify trade processes, unlock economic potential, and position Nigeria as a global trade leader. The project will create a single digital platform that links ports, government agencies, and stakeholders, enabling a seamless and efficient trade ecosystem. The President assures the project will simplify the processes of importation and exportation in the country by eliminating the need to interact with various agencies across multiple locations to secure the required documents, permits, and clearance.
The National Single Window is not just about Nigeria. By linking our system with those of other African nations, we will expedite cargo movement and optimize inter-Africa trade. This initiative is a testament to our commitment to regional integration and our belief in the power of collaboration.
On his part, Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, who is also the head of the steering committee, mentioned that Nigeria could achieve an annual growth rate of over 7% in gross domestic product by implementing the NSW. He added that the initiative would foster collaboration and information sharing among different stakeholders in the import and export sectors.
Delay and inefficiency at our port has been constant burden. It is estimated that a staggering $4 billion USD annually is lost due to this inefficiency. By addressing revenue leakage prevention and facilitating effective trade, we will reclaim these lost resources and channel them towards the betterment of our society.
The implementation of this project will result into improved efficiencies in our import processes by providing real-time data and reducing the lead time to clear goods at the port, which in turn will result in the reduction of congestion at our ports. The single window project will cover both oil and non-oil exports. For oil exports, this project will help to provide real-time tracking, improve data transparency, and reduce the requirement of pre-shipment inspections. The steering committee, inaugurated today by His Excellency, will provide support, oversight, strategic direction, and guidance for the project team, and ensure the effective and timely completion of the project.
The National Single Window Steering Committee, which includes representatives from various government agencies and ministries, has set a target of 24-hour port clearance, significantly faster than the 72 to 48-hour range in neighboring countries. Sirisola Digun, TV360 News.
Now, 10 years after its initial public offer, which was held in 2014, Seplat Energy has generated $1.7 billion in free cash flow and investment over $57 billion to support community projects focused on healthcare, education, and empowerment. Now, these were disclosed by the Chief Executive Officer, Seplat Energy, Roger Brown, at a press briefing marking the oil company's 10th year anniversary of dual listing and the Nigerian Stock Group and the London Stock Exchange in Lagos. Brown explained that Seplat Energy has made a significant progress post-IPO, acquiring 8 onshore blocks in the Niger Delta and generating an average annual FCF of $264. Now, with over 500 direct staff, the company, now known as the most successful indigenous energy company in Nigeria, has supported hundreds of jobs indirectly in the communities and the supply chain. Shareholders of Afriland Properties PLC have endorsed the recommendation of the Board of Directors for a full-year dividend of 343.5 billion naira for the financial year ending December 31st, 2023. The shareholders approved the company's 11th annual general meeting, which was conducted virtually. The dividend translates to 25 kobo per ordinary share and a 150% increase in payout as against the 10 kobo per ordinary share declared in the previous year of 2022. Now, addressing stakeholders during the meeting, the chairman of Affluent Properties PLC, Emmanuel Norom, noted that the growth achieved in the financial 2023 reflects the company's commitment to creating value for all stakeholders. We'll go on a break now, but when Money Matter returns, we'll be discussing Dangote and modular refineries to pay naira or dollars for crude. Don't go away. Welcome back. The federal government has eventually complied with the demands of domestic crude oil refineries and other operators in the sector, as it declared on April 15 that indigenous refineries can now buy crude oil in naira or dollars. It also declared that the total crude oil and condensate reserves in Nigeria increased to 37.5 billion barrels as of January 1st, 2024, with a life index of 68.01 years. The government disclosed this through the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission at a briefing in Abuja, where it unveiled a new template for domestic crude oil supply obligations. It stated that in compliance with the provisions of Section 109, subsection 2 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, the NUPLC, in a landmark move, had developed a template guiding the activities for domestic crude oil supply obligation in the country. The chief executive NUPLC, Gbenga Komolafe, told journalists in Abuja that this is in a bid to foster a seamless implementation of the DCSO and ensure consistent supply of crude oil to domestic refineries. Komolafe said the purchase will be in either naira or dollar, adding that naira transactions will free the pressure on the country's foreign exchange rate. Now, well, joining me to discuss this further is Economist Akin Ogunshola. Thank you for joining me on the program, Mr. Ogunshola. Now, how significant do you think is the government's decision to allow indigenous refineries to purchase crude oil in naira or dollars, and what economic implication might this have for the domestic oil refining sector?
Thank you very much for your question. I think the purchase of crude oil for local refineries in naira is a good idea. It's a welcome development, and I know that once crude oil is being purchased by local refineries in naira, this will help to boost the exchange rate of the naira, and the naira can now compete favorably even in the international market. So the purchase of crude oil in naira is a welcome development. In fact, that's what it ought to be. We are not supposed to ask local refineries to pay for crude in dollars. So I think that's the way forward. It will actually help naira to be more strengthened, and also it will help for easy calculation of arriving at the costs of production and also determining the sales of petroleum products in naira. So I think it's better for us. It's going to be cheaper for us, and it's more advantageous to Nigerian economy.
With the new template for domestic crude oil supply obligation that was introduced by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, what changes do you foresee in the dynamics of the oil industry within Nigeria?
Yeah, the new template is actually a welcome template. In fact, it's necessary. And the template is simply saying that all oil-producing companies must meet up with their local supply of crude oil before they can begin to sell to the international market. So the template is for the refineries, local refineries, to be able to get crude oil, other than what we've been hearing in the past, where there's no crude for local refineries. Dangote couldn't get crude oil from Nigeria. It had to go to the United States to import crude oil. This template will help to curb that and also help to boost local, supply of crude oil to the local refineries.
Mr. Ogunshola, you said quite a lot, but then I want to know how might this impact investment decisions and market competition in Nigeria?
This will impact investment decision because, when it comes to crude oil, it comes to gas production and other petroleum products, is going to be more cheaper. It's going to be more sustainable. It's going to be more affordable, just as the president promised Nigerians on his inaugural speech. So the impact on businesses is that the cost of doing businesses will now improve. The cost of running businesses will now also become more cheaper. And also inflation is also going to go downwards instead of going upwards. So it has a lot of economic benefit and also positive impact on the Nigerian economy.
The move to comply with Section 109, subsection 2 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 seems to indicate regulatory alignment with industry demands. Now, from an economic standpoint, how does this regulatory clarity influence investors' confidence and long-term planning in the oil and gas sector?
All right. You'll recall that just a few time past, Shell decided to sell off their onshore sites. You know, they don't want to operate again on the onshore. They want to only maintain and sustain the offshore sites. The challenges that investors actually come across on the onshore sites of oil spillage, bunkering, and all those vices have been the discouraging factor to investors, especially in the oil and gas industry. Now, going forward with this template, with this law that has been, approved by Mr. President, particularly for the supply of crude oil locally, this will help to reduce, the oil bunkering. It will help to reduce stealing of crude oil. It will help to reduce all the problems that we have in the Niger Delta around the oil and gas industry. So this and also this law is in tandem with the Petroleum Industry Act that was signed by Mr. President in 2023. All these are working together in order to boost investment in the oil and gas sector. No doubt about that. I'm one of those propounders that Nigeria should invite more investors, especially into the gas sector. Only NLNG is not enough to be the major investor of, in our gas industry. We need more investors. Nigeria is endowed with natural gas. We can even use gas to finance our budget. We saw the amount of gas, trillions of cubic feet of gas that it announced as at 1st of January 2024 that Nigeria has. So Nigeria is blessed with gas. So we need more investors to also come in the area of gas to invest in our gas economy so that we can begin to export gas outside the country, and that will also serve as a revenue earner for the country. So that is very important. Then coming to the oil industry, we also need more investors. In fact, we want those investors that have gone to come back. Also, if we can also boost local investors, encourage local investors to invest in this oil and gas sector, it will also be a good thing for Nigeria. It will also help to create jobs. It will help to create employment. It will also help to drive our inflation downwards. So these are the economic impact that this will have, especially on investment, on investors in the oil and gas industry.
So you will agree with me that Nigeria has historically struggled with inefficiencies and underperformance in its refining sector. Do you believe that allowing indigenous refineries to purchase crude oil in naira or dollars will incentivize greater investment in the refining infrastructure?
Oh, yes. The benefit of that for local refineries to purchase crude in naira is for easy exchange. We don't have CBN being muddled up with the burden of trying to repatriate dollars to some countries because they are foreign investors, that have come to invest and all that. If this is done locally in naira, because they get to buy it in naira, and it means that they will produce it here in Nigeria, and they are going to sell it in the local market. In fact, but the challenge we have too is that some of them will not only sell to Nigeria, also the neighboring countries to Nigeria will also enjoy some of this, and it will not be sold to them in naira. So government need to also monitor the exportation of petroleum products outside the shores of Nigeria, despite that we have porous borders. So these are the situations that will definitely come up as soon as the purchase of crude oil, the local refining of crude is activated on our soil. We see Dangote Refinery has started supplying diesel, looking at supplying fuel also to local market by May. So these are economic boosters. Nigeria has been a major, dependent on importation of petroleum products over the years. So this is going to serve as, a breaker for this importation. And also, it will also help us to reduce subsidy in dollars. Government of the day subsidize petroleum in dollars, and these have put more pressure on our naira, making the naira to continue to fall. The major, impact of this is that it will help strengthen our naira so much that the value of the naira will now can be stable. It can help stabilize the exchange rate regime instead of this fluctuation that we have, or the parity we have between the I and E window exchange rate and also the parallel market exchange rate. Producing our petroleum product locally will help to stabilize the exchange rate regime and also help, to boost and strengthen the value of the naira. So that's the major impact. That's the major benefit that we stand to gain on the purchase of crude or sales of crude to local refineries, in naira.
So now I would like to know, how might this affect Nigeria's broader economic development goals?
Oh, this is one of the reforms that is meant to support consumption of locally made products. You'll recall too that government and also several organizations have been announcing, and they continue to tell Nigerians that they should buy made in Nigeria goods. If we are going to start from this angle of purchasing made in Nigeria petroleum, made in Nigeria diesel, made in Nigeria aviation fuel, we are going to see a lot of drop in the cost of doing business and other things. When we see flights, the cost of airline traveling from Abuja to Lagos before was less than 50,000 naira for one flight. But now we see that it's very high as a result of the cost of the aviation fuel, because it's being purchased in dollars. If we start buying aviation fuel, we start buying diesel, we start buying petrol, we start producing engine oil in Nigeria, we'll see that the cost of running business, the cost of living, even the poor, we have some feelings that yes, the economy has improved, because importation of this petroleum product has been eating deep into our foreign exchange reserves. So going forward with this policy, it will help to boost our economic indices. It will also help us to boost trade. It will help us to increase international trade, because Nigeria will now begin to produce. Our GDP is going to improve, is going to go up, because we are no longer importing. We are now producing locally. Nigeria will move from the consuming nation gradually to a producing nation. These are the impact of this policy. This policy is a welcome development, is a policy that helps to drive Nigeria on a growth path rather than on a consumption. Enough USD in our foreign reserve to defend the naira. So the policy is a very welcome policy, is a good policy, is a policy for the people, is a policy that will help to grow Nigerian economy. So I think it's a plus for the Nigerian government if this is actually achieved.
Well, the government also disclosed an increase in crude oil and condensate reserves to 37.5 billion barrels with a life index of 68.01 years. Now, how does this affect Nigeria's position in the global oil market, and what potential economic benefits or challenges might arise from this?
Oh, yeah. Nigeria needs to put out or roll out the indices of how rich the country is in crude oil. This also helps us to put us in position of countries with the largest reserves of oil. And this will also give us a better positioning when it comes to OPEC, because we are a member of the OPEC nation, and then the volume of crude oil that you have in your reserves determine how the world economic policies will be affecting your economy. So it is necessary for us to roll out the amount of reserves of crude and even gas that we have in order to help us in order to help us to plan, to forecast. Because now, even the number of years that we have, because it's calculated by the amount of crude that we produce every day. So if we are to be producing, let's say, 1.8 million or 2 million barrels per day, for how many years are we going to exhaust the reserve that we have? They said it's about 60-something years, so which is very good. So Nigeria will continue to be rich in oil. And I think even the reserve is also increasing compared to last year figure. It has also increased. Possibly the oil is a natural resources. Nobody actually stored it there. I think it's just given to us by God. And if God, decide to increase it for us, where it's being kept, I think it's a bonus for us. So this will help Nigeria a lot. But where we have problem is these statistics are good, but where Nigeria cannot curb oil bunkering, cannot curb the stealing of this crude, all these statistics will just be eroded. It will be impacted negatively. So we have to stop, or we have to see how to stop oil bunkering. We have to see how to stop the stealing of the crude, national assets of the country, in order for the country to be rich, so that people don't, because these are assets that God has given us, and people are stealing it away. They are stealing the nation's resources. So if government does not continue to fight oil bunkering, does not continue to fight, stealing of the crude, this will affect us negatively. So government needs to continue to be on top of the game when it comes to preserving these natural resources from, thieves, oil thieves. And also, this announcement of this volume of reserve will also help give us a better chance among the oil producing nations. So that will help us to place how many barrels we can even draw per day, that we can produce per day. If we have, the more the reserve we have, the more we can have chance of increasing the number of barrels that we produce per day. And once we can increase the number of barrels we produce per day, Nigeria will be richer, because we are going to be selling them to the international market, and that will be fetching us some forex that will be kept in our reserves. And Nigeria will be rich for it. The per capita income is going to come up. The economy will be strong and buoyant, and actually take our position as a giant of Africa. So these are the benefits that these figures, will give to us.
Well, Economist Akin Ogunshola, thank you for lending your thoughts on the program. That's it on this episode of the program. Many thanks for watching. I'm Okpeyemi Owosheni. See you next time.